Okay, today we are working on CO5. I can use equivalent fractions to simplify a fraction and solve a proportion. So the first thing we want to look at is what is equivalency. Equivalency is having the same value. So if things are equivalent, they have the same value. So to find an equivalent fraction, multiply or divide the numerator and denominator by the same number. In effect, you are multiplying or dividing by 1. So even though the numbers in the fraction will change, its value will not. Using a calculator, compare the decimal values of the original and the equivalent fraction. They should be the same. So if our fraction is, let's say our fraction was 8/10, the decimal of that would be what? 0.8. What is an equivalent fraction to 8/10? Andrea? We're going to want to go to decimals. Can you, if it's 16/20, do you have your calculator? What is a calculator? Do 16 divided by 20.
It's 0.8.
It's 0.8.
Oh, it is.
Equivalent fractions. They have the same decimal. And I love that Charlotte was surprised by it. It is the same. They are the same value. They look different because they have different numbers in their fractions, but they equal the same. Maddie.
When I divided by 20, it does 4/9.
So different calculators can work in different ways. 4/5 is another equivalent fraction. So I don't know why it didn't give it to you as a decimal.
It keeps doing that. That's why I can't use it.
I will have to ask Mr. Schultz about that because I'm good with the math. I'm not necessarily good with the technology.
4 divided by 5.
So yeah, do 4 divided by 5 now and see what you get. What did you get for your answer?
I got 0.8.
If you do 4 divided by 5.
What?
You get 4 over 5, yeah? That's goofy. I will check with Mr. Schultz on that because I'm good with the math, not the technology so much.
I think it might be my setting on here. It's on half, but maybe it's on the wrong side.
Okay, friends, we have to finish this up. Okay, so using the calculator, we compared and we found that it's true. They actually are the same value. So now write 2 equivalent fractions for each given fraction, checking your answer by comparing decimal values of all 3 fractions. So we're going to do the first one together. If we have 3 times 7, what would be an equivalent fraction of 3/7? Ethan. We multiply it by 2 and we get 6/14. What would be another one? Sam. What would be another one we could do, Sam M?
9/28.
Yeah, if we multiply it by 3, we get 9/21. They are all equivalent fractions. If we divided them all on our calculators, except unless you're using Maddie's calculator, if we divide them, we would get the same decimal point. So they are equivalent fractions. So just multiply the top and bottom, or sometimes you can simplify and get an equivalent fraction. It doesn't have to be multiplying. How could we simplify 8/10 to get an equivalent fraction, Maddie?
4/5.
Yeah, we could divide out that 2 and get 4/5. So your equivalent fraction can be either simplifying it or multiplying it up. Okay? you need to show 2 equivalent fractions for each given fraction. As you can see on our bottom of this page, we have proportions. So because we're running shorter on time today, we're going to do the proportion part tomorrow. So your assignment for today is doing the equivalent fractions. So for today's homework is equivalent fractions. We will learn about proportions tomorrow. So you are just doing the equivalent fractions right now. And then I do want you to compare your decimal values of all 3 fractions. So you're going to write down what the decimal value is of it.
What? Oh, just one decimal value?
Because they're all should be the same decimal value. So if we had 3/7, we said 6/14, and we said 9/21. What would the decimal value of it be, Paul?
0.12857.
So we are going to round it to the nearest 20th or nearest 100th.
20th.
I was looking up there and I saw the 21st. Round to the nearest 100th. So what is it rounded to the nearest 100th, Paul? Round it to the nearest 100th for me.
That is
0.43. Don't forget to put your 0 before the decimal. Okay, 0.43. So 43 hundredths. So don't forget to do that part of your problem. Thank you to my friends who are working quietly.